Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. This is MazezRealm once again, and welcome to another episode of my series, The Arsenal. For this episode, I'm going to be talking about a submachine gun that you either love or you hate, simply because of the way that it handles and the way that it is, and the attention that it has received from the community and the nerfs that it has received because of the community's input, and that is the PDW-57. Now, although this gun has been nerfed several times, twice to be exact, it still remains one of the best submachine guns in Black Ops 2, and this particular loadout really worked well for me while using the PDW-57, and this is an older class setup. I've actually prestiged the weapon twice now, and I still use it with these perks, and it works really, really well. It's just that now I have my emblem and my clan tag on there, and I use it with the foregrip instead of quick draw. But on this particular loadout, I'm using it with the suppressor and quick draw, as you can see right there on the screen. And then the rest of the slots are taken up by perks and wildcards. So we've got Ghost and Lightweight together, along with Scavenger and Toughness together, and then Dexterity to completely just ease off the rest of that class there. And in order for us to be able to stack up those Tier 1 perks and Tier 2 perks, we have to use the Perk 2 Greed wildcard and the Perk 1 Greed wildcard. So that pretty much uses up all the 10 slots and make this class an absolute monster for close quarters combat. And since the PDW-57 now has a little bit more recoil, this class actually does a little bit better now. So now we're just going to move on right to the gameplay here. I am playing a team deathmatch on the map Standoff. And usually, Standoff is a map where you can use a lot of different weapons. You can use sniper rifles, you can use assault rifles, you can use shotguns, and then you can use submachine guns. And because a lot of different people can use a lot of different classes, this particular class suits almost every situation in probably 80% of the map, just because of the damage of this weapon. And it still retains its damage for quite a bit of range, even with the suppressor attached, and that's why I use it with a suppressor. And not to mention that if you have to actually use one or two more shots to kill your enemy at a little bit of a longer range, you can actually afford to do that just because you have 50 rounds in the magazine. That is just almost an insane amount of ammo that you have on one clip with this weapon. And the good thing is, if you get on a really long streak with the PDW-57, you'll find yourself with so much ammo that you can actually hold off an area of the map and back up your teammates so that they can get good spawns and not run out of ammo. It's a really good thing for a submachine gun that has pretty much high damage like this one does. It has up to a 3-shot kill at close range, which is a really, really good damage. And the only downfall to the PDW-57 is a little bit of added recoil after the patches, excuse me, so that it's not as good at longer ranges as it used to be. So just make sure that you keep your engagements to close quarters, to medium range. You do not want to do those long range, assaults like you used to be able to do with this PDW. You can't do that anymore, which is a good thing, because they actually got a chance to balance it out a little bit so that the MSMC and the PDW-57s weren't the only weapons you saw being used for those that were using the submachine gun. So that's really, really important to keep in mind. This gun is not what it used to be. It doesn't matter how much you miss the old PDW-57, that is the reality. They really wanted it to be more balanced, and even though they did nerf it a few times, like I mentioned before, it is still one of the best submachine guns because of the damage and the capacity, and that alone makes this weapon still a weapon that a lot of people use, a lot of pros still use it, and it's just a really overall good gun. Now, the perks that we're using with this weapon work really, really well in combination because it really promotes an aggressive playstyle, and that's exactly why I called this particular class my aggressive close quarters combat class, because of the fact that it is so aggressive. I mean, you could rush the shit out of the enemy and they won't know what hit them, because you don't have to reload as often because you have plenty of ammo. The reload is kind of slow, but since you have enough rounds, you can take out like 3 or 4 enemies if you're an accurate shooter, and then you'll be clear to reload. And that's a really cool thing about the PDW that really makes it a desirable weapon to use in Black Ops 2. Now, as you see here in the gameplay, I'm doing a really good job of going in and out of cover in these close quarter situations, checking my long sight lines, and apparently getting knifed by a guy who shouldn't have knifed me. I don't know how the fuck he knifed me, but either way, that is unrelated to what I'm talking about here, and that is that with this class, since you have lightweight in combination with dexterity, it really helps you rush around really quickly and get away from long sight lines that could potentially be hazardous to you. I mean, you're not going to be able to engage a sniper at really long range, so the best thing to do is to draw his fire by running through that that short sight line there, I mean that long sight line I should say, and then moving on to a short flank so that you can get right behind that sniper who is busy trying to shoot at you from the long sight line, and then before he knows it, he's already dead, just because you were so fast and you flanked so quickly that he had no reaction time. And that is why this class is so aggressive, and it works so well for an aggressive playstyle. If you're more of a withdrawn type of player, or one who ambushes the enemy or likes to camp, this class is not for you. And most of the classes that I feature on the Arsenal are classes that help many types of different players, I should say, but it does not cater to campers. This game does not cater to campers, so I really try not to give you guys loadouts that will help you camp. There are different loadouts that can help you camp efficiently, but those I try to stay away from, because it's not a playstyle that I encourage for you to uphold, really. I mean, it's a playstyle that doesn't make you better as a Call of Duty player, so I try to give you guys classes that will help you be able to rush efficiently, and you know, it still takes a little bit of skill to rush around in this game, and it also takes skill to play intelligently and know when to ambush an enemy and know when to preserve your life so that you can get your point streaks like I'm getting here. And I'm just literally going on a tear because the enemy team was kind of camping at first. Then I started to draw them out, and I would just rush them every time they spawned in. And that is something that you have to keep in mind when using an aggressive loadout. You have to get on a roll very quickly so that you don't have to worry about having to get spawn trapped yourself. You want to be the one being the aggressive player and forcing the enemy to retreat. And that is exactly what this class does really well. This is another class that works well in objective-based game modes like Capture the Flag or Demolition. Just game modes that you have to get to a certain site very quickly and be able to have your sights up and be ready for a gunfight at any given second. And this loadout does that in a very masterful way, as you guys can see here. Obviously, though, this weapon is not the way it used to be. So it's still a really good weapon in the right hands, but if you are not very good at controlling recoil, this might not be the gun for you anymore. The MSMC still takes the cake when it comes to the low recoil that it has. It still has one of the lowest recoils of the higher damage submachine guns. So if you're looking for lower recoil than the PDW-57, that would be your bet. I will definitely have a loadout for you guys to see, but right now it is all about the PDW-57. So I hope you guys enjoyed this loadout, and I hope you guys find success using this loadout like I did. I ended up going 31-9 on a team deathmatch. So that is a pretty good match with the PDW-57. If you guys do enjoy the series, please support it by liking this video, and also be sure to check the previous episode of the arsenal. That is right there on your screen. You can just click that annotation and it'll take you right to the video. If you want to check out a similar series to the arsenal, you can check out my Keys to Success series by just clicking on that thumbnail right there. That'll take you straight to the latest episode of that. If you haven't subscribed already, you can easily do that by clicking on that subscribe button there on the top right. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can hover over that Twitter icon there on the top left. And be sure to also click on that MazezRealm icon there on the bottom of your screen for all of the rest of my playlists and everything else I have to offer on my channel. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode of The Arsenal. I'll catch you guys later.